From the beginning of our recorded history, people have, at this time of year, celebrated light. In ancient times, it must have been terrifying to see that the days were getting shorter and shorter and the light was getting less and less and less. Would the sun soon die out completely? Well, once people figured out that every year at this time, the light would start returning, they created festivals to welcome it. And we still celebrate the light. We gather around roaring fires, we light candles, we put lights on trees and on houses. Everywhere we look at this time of year, we are treated to beautiful displays of light. And when you think about it, light was the first act of creation. God said, "Let there be light." Well, light is also a metaphor for wisdom. The universal symbol for understanding in a cartoon or a graphic illustration is a light bulb or a flash of lightning. And light is about seeing. We say, "I see," when we finally understand something. To see is an internal illumination. Now, light is often used in the Hebrew scriptures to mean knowledge and wisdom. Maimonides, the medieval Jewish scholar, wrote that a prophet can experience a flash of light, a radiance which illuminates his direction. And so it is that we yearn for the light and we pursue it in prayer, study, and meditation. Jews celebrate a holiday called Hanukkah, which commemorates a miracle. Foreign invaders had taken over the Holy Temple, which was home to an eternal flame, fueled by purified, sanctified oil. And after the Jews had driven the invaders out, they discovered that they only had 1 day's worth of oil. And they went ahead and lit the flame anyway, and immediately and miraculously, the oil kept lasting and lasting for 8 days, long enough for a new supply of oil to be purified. And this miracle is remembered to this day by lighting the menorah, special candelabra, one for each night of Hanukkah. Now, the miracle wasn't about the oil. The miracle was about the light. And most of us are probably more familiar with the Christmas nativity story. At the time of Jesus' birth in Bethlehem, angels appeared in a blaze of light to shepherds watching over their flocks by night, announcing the great event which had occurred in a lowly stable. And at the same time, a star appeared in the east, the light of which was followed by magi from ancient lands, distant lands. These were men of means who were searching for the birth of one who had been prophesied to be the light of the world. And Jesus was, in fact, a being of light. And likewise, Buddha is often referred to as the light of Asia. But thank goodness, the fact that Jesus and Buddha were the light means that they weren't the only beings of light. Otherwise, we'd all be running around in the dark. Now, too often, people have the thought that no one could ever hold a candle to Buddha, no one could ever shine like Jesus. And the implication was that only by getting close to these master teachers could we ever hope to escape the darkness. Well, Jesus did say, "I am the light of the world." But he didn't stop there. He said, as recorded in the Gospel of Matthew, "You are the light of the world. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works." And even the Apostle Paul, who was largely responsible for transforming Jesus from an example to follow as opposed to an exception to worship, Even Paul wrote the truth about the light in several places in the Christian scriptures. For example, you are all sons of the light and sons of the day. We do not belong to the night or to the darkness. And live as children of the light, for light consists of all goodness, righteousness, and truth. It's all there in black and white. You are the light. So what happened? Well, I think the church wanted followers who would bow to authority. You know, after all, one way to gain power over others is to convince them that they are unworthy and that their only hope is to be found in a priest or a guru who will tell them what to do. Conformity is the key. And the church has gotten away with perpetuating these feelings of inferiority by teaching us that our differences are bad instead of something to be celebrated. Remember the story of Rudolph? It may seem like a simple children's story, but the best teachers have used simple stories to teach great truths. Well, we all have a little Rudolph in us. It's that part of us that doesn't realize that we have a spark of divinity that's as different from anything that anyone else has ever been. Something unique that is of value to be shared. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. We may have been made to be ashamed of our differences. There's enormous pressure on us to conform, to think certain things, and to behave in certain ways. And too many of us bought into the idea that different is bad. Well, Rudolph was different, and not everyone appreciated that. And as I said, we all have a little Rudolph in us. But we also have a little Santa in us, that inner wisdom which encourages us to let our light shine, to use our unique gifts to bring joy to the world. Santa gave Rudolph an opportunity. He asked him to guide his sleigh. Now, Rudolph could have refused, hidden his light under a basket, and we'd have a completely different story. But he would have missed the opportunity of a lifetime. So the message of the story is to let your light shine. Shine your gifts with the world. Answer the call to fully express your divinity. Here are just a few lessons of the light. First of all, a room full of darkness is drastically changed by even a very small flame. Darkness is the absence of light. So any light means the end of darkness. And in the same way, what we call evil exists when we are apathetic and don't make any effort to change negative circumstances in our homes and in a society, between us and our fellow humans. Any effort, any change, any illumination we create goes a very long way. We should never allow something of seeming smallness of our as inferior to our contributions to prevent us from making it and appreciating its importance. Secondly, an oil lamp or a candle is made up of three elements: the fuel, that's the oil or the wax, the wick, and the flame. The wick corresponds to our body, and the flame represents the enthusiasm of the divine spark we all carry within. The aspects of the divine: life, love, light, power, peace, beauty, and joy are the oil that feeds our flame. And to the extent that we allow these divine qualities to shine forth in our everyday activities, our flame will be a blessing to everyone. After all, the goal of life is not to escape it by withdrawing from the world, but to make life holy and meaningful, which means that our every activity should express the light of the divine. Third, we place the menorah or the Christmas tree in our front window so that those passing by can see it and be cheered by it. It's not that many decades ago that people put lit candles on their Christmas tree. Dead trees and fire are a risky combination. But the urge to shine lights on a dark night was powerful enough that the millions of people took that chance every year. I read an interesting story about a family in the 1940s who lived in the country where electricity was not yet available. And when they went to the big city to do their Christmas shopping, they were delighted with all the lights and the decorations in people's living room windows. Well, when they got home, the father gave this some thought, and he took some old taillight bulbs that he turned to various shades with watercolor paints, and he created some homemade Christmas tree lights. Not having electricity, he rigged up this car battery that would allow the lights to burn. Now, they couldn't leave it on very long because, number one, it was just a battery, and number two, if the bulbs got too hot, the watercolors would start burning off. So when night fell, one of the kids would sit by the tree and another would sit in a north window. And when they saw headlights coming their way, they'd yell, "Car!" And the kid by the tree would turn the light on until the car passed. It was their way of sharing some Christmas cheer with their neighbors. And in the same way, Jesus said to let your light shine, to not hide your light under a basket, but to let it shine so that it glorifies God and is a blessing to all who are illumined by it. It's not enough to light up our own lives. We must share our good with others. And we light the lights when it becomes dark in our spot of the globe. For thousands of years, winter has been the season when we dispel the darkness with tiny sparks and giant bonfires. Spiritually speaking, we must devote our efforts to the darkness we see in our lives and communities. This darkness could be hunger, homelessness, violence, or discord of any kind. If there is darkness in our place, there is where we must bring our light. And note that it's not about shining our light, not about fighting the darkness. The darkness does not flee the light, because the darkness is not a thing in and of itself. The darkness is merely an absence of light. And when the light shines, the dark disappears into the nothingness it's always been. The lesson for us, it is more powerful to be for something than against something. There is an everlasting light, and there always has been, and there always will be, and you have access to it always. In fact, the light is who you really are. The trick is to remember that no matter what seems to be. The lights of Hanukkah are more than a miracle that occurred to the Holy Temple. After all, what good is it to know that one day's worth of oil burned for 8 days if we don't know that this light is always burning for us? The light is a continuation of the spark of creation when God said, "Let there be light." And since the beginning, the light has always been available for those who need it. The light was available to the shepherds in the fields surrounding Bethlehem, and it was available to wisdom seekers from the east who follow the star. But what good is it to know that our ancients were guided by a strength and a brightness if we don't know that our own thought and beautiful star is guiding us into something of infinite value? The light is available now, and it will be available tomorrow, and it will be available to every tomorrow following tomorrow. The light glows with the promise that God is never absent, and the radiance never dims. It is in the darkest times that the light is most urgently needed. The darker the night, the more precious the light. So we must be about the business of spreading that light. Now, when you consider that there are about 7 billion people in this world, it's hard to believe that one person can make a difference. But one person can make a difference. Shakespeare wrote, "The light we see is burning in my hall. How far that little candle throws his beams. So shines a good deed in a weary world." Well, our good deeds do shine in a weary world, and that's because a good deed is not just limited to the deed itself. Just as doom and gloom can spread from person to person to person until it seems that the whole world is down and out, the lights of good cheer and helpfulness are also contagious. Every day we have so many opportunities to heighten someone's day. Every day we have or are presented with opportunities to show others kindness, patience, and generosity. It's been said that a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. So it is that helping someone by sharing whatever you have, your kindness, your encouragement, your knowledge, doesn't cost you anything, but does provide you with the reward of satisfaction. When you enlighten others with your candle, the beam brightens for everyone as your gift is amplified. During this season of light, think about what you can do to help and encourage others. Your good deeds are powerful. And just as one kind word can turn around another person's bad day, your gentleness could comfort an animal, or your positive attitude could inspire a child. Your power is incredible. We are all candles, candles of the light and spirit, lights whose beams may show a troubled soul the joy of living, the reward of truth, the infinite love of God. Writing in the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes says, if one will have faith in himself, faith in his fellow man, in the universe, and in God, that faith will light the place in which he finds himself. And by the light of that faith, he will be able to see that all is good. And by the light shed by this faith, the light will show the way for others. We have become conscious of darkness only when we are without faith. But during this festive season and continuing into the new year, let's resolve to see the light and to be the light. We are the light of the world. How can we be brighter, more radiant, not just for ourselves, but for those who need us? See yourself as you're meant to be, a great light, a beacon, a torch in the dark. Reflect on your talents, your gifts, what you love to do, and think about how that can change things in your world. You may be only one candle, but what a difference one candle flame makes in a dark world. In a few minutes, we're going to have a song, the lyrics of which include, "It is better to light one little candle than to stumble in the dark. Better far that you light just one little candle. All you need's a tiny spark. If we'd all say a prayer that the world would be free, the wonderful dawn of a new day we'll see. And if everyone lit just one little candle, what a bright world this would be." So now we're going to do, let's see, I'm going to do that now. Yes, we're going to continue now that we're thinking along these lines. We will continue with our candle lighting ceremony. So, know that life is a precious thing. And the Christ principle is a precious thing. Here it is. So I'm going to ask our practitioners to assemble near the table, and we will have a reading about the Christ candle. Today, we are drawn together in consciousness, follow a star, the star of faith, the star of Christ. This is the Christ, however, not one single person, but a presence that everyone indwells. And for you, the Christ is the universal presence in each and every one of us. And in realizing this, we realize that the light is not for the big only, but for the weak. There is only one life, and it is the spirit of the life of pure spirit. And it is made manifest as the universal Christ, presence within all people. The large white candle represents the universal Christ burning eternally. It warms hearts and uplifts and is a spark of sacred essence within you. So this morning we will light candles of the truth representing the qualities of God. And let each of these qualities be activated in your life at a higher level as the flame of each is lit. And our first quality candle is the quality of life.
We realize, as we consider the candle, the first candle, life, we realize that there is life everywhere, present, a great invisible stream flowing through each of us in every atom. The earth is teeming with life, emanating from one source, the fountain of all life. God's life is our life now, and it yearns to reveal its magnificence through you. It is ever poised, ready to come into our own expression. As we light this candle, life, we can hear the indwelling Christ saying, I am the way, I am the life.
Thank you. And our next light, or quality of the divine, is that of light.
God is light. When we look upon the light of God within, our whole being is lighted. We have new ideas and new attitude. God's intelligence shows us a new way to go and warns us not to go back to the old ways, since they will not be good for us. As the light makes clear the new safe way, all old problems fall away. As each of us feels the presence of God's light within, we know that the old is done with. The light of God is the only presence and the only power. There is no separation. We acknowledge God in all ways. And as we renew our heart with this truth, we dedicate ourselves to the radiating God's light wherever there is darkness. We recognize this intimate presence is the place where it seems to be absence. Where there is need, we practice the mandate, acknowledge me. As we light the candle light, we proclaim that we are at a point of light in the mind of God.
And now we light the candle of love.
Love. There was no room for them at the inn. Joseph and Mary learned when they came to Bethlehem. but there was an empty stable. The inn symbolizes the crowded parts of our life where we are distracted from the true essence of love, but the stable becomes a center of light. Many events in the Christmas story show love. The angels sing of their love. The shepherds came and showed their love. The three wise men have traveled very far following the star to show their love. The celebration of the birth of Christ can never again, the celebration of the birth of Christ can occur again in your hearts now, and you can be transformed. Fear and doubt will go out of your life. Confidence and security will be ushered in, and all challenges, great and small, will yield to your understanding of the greater love of your own soul. As we light the candle, love, we affirm that I am the point of love within the heart of God.
Next, we light the candle of power.
Power. Since God exists everywhere, the power of God is wherever you recognize it. As we recognize this power, which is perfect, complete, and ever present, we have implicit trust and confidence in its ability right where we are and through everything we do. There is a power behind our every thought and word. There is power upholding and sustaining us. There is power going before us and preparing our way. Rest in this power in calm and serene confidence with perfect trust and faith. Know that this power is good. It is constructive. It is activated by love. It is directed by divine intelligence. There is a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it. I light the candle of power.
And now, the candle of peace.
God is peace. That means a state of inner calm, an inner calm so complete that nothing can disturb it. The peace of God comes from its knowledge that it is all. God is always at peace because there is nothing to disturb God. My peace I give unto you, said the master teacher. He came to bring peace to the world, but the gift is our only when we make room for it in our hearts. We are promised he will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. My dear friends, the world is in a time of conflict and strife. Let's keep our minds on God so that we may bring love where there is hate, joy where there is sorrow, and peace where there is chaos. As the light of as we light the candle of peace, we can in truth know the peace passeth human understanding. Glory to God in the highest, and on earth God will towards us all.
And now the candle of beauty.
True spiritual progress, life-enhancing progress, is the understanding that we have been begotten of God. Let the God self lead you into paths of peace and ways of gentleness, in green pastures and beside still waters. The God presence within you is mightier than any circumstance. You were created in the image and likeness of that which is beautiful. This is the truth that will make you free. No matter what things look like on the outside, the Christ within us is our true beauty. So the lowly stable is somewhat like our lives before we know that we are one with God. It is not always very pretty. When we know that Christ is born within us, true beauty becomes our reality. We have a balance and wholeness of mind. We have clarity of vision and see the infinite beauty in each one of God's creations. We recognize the beauty in ourselves. As we light the candle beauty, we accept the beauty of God's perfection in us now and always, and we listen for the holy whisper.
Now we light the candle of joy.
Yes, joy to the world. Consider the joy that is so evident, so natural in children. They are not burdened by the weight of daily living, as they have given themselves to the flow of perfect life within them. Their celebration is spontaneous. Joy is the very nature of spirit and the true essence of you. For whatever may have passed in your experience, there is that part of you at the center of your being which is still joy-filled. It cannot be harmed, threatened, nor endangered in any way. Joy is the most infallible sign of the love of God. As we light the candle, we proclaim the joy of our own rebirth in the manger of God consciousness, and behold its transforming glory in each of us.
And now it is time for you to light your candle. So I'm going to ask that we do this row by row. The back row, please, if you'll get up and go around this direction. Lorraine will have a candle for you. And we'll ask you to come over to our table and take your flame from the Christ candle. And now we're going to do the song that I referenced a couple of minutes ago, One Little Candle. So here to present that is Jonathan and Ascend. It is better to light just one little candle than to stumble in the dark. Better fall that you light the one little candle. All you need a tiny spark. If we all say a prayer that the world would be free, the wonderful dawn of a new day we'll see. And if everyone lit just one little candle, what a bright world this would be. When the day is dark and dreary, and your way is hard to find, don't let your heart be weary. Just keep the thought in mind. It is better to light just one little candle than to stumble in the dark. Better far than the light, just one little candle. All you need is a tiny spark. If we all say a prayer that the world would be free, the wonderful dawn of a new day we'll see. And if every lit just one little candle, what a bright light this would be. If you'd like to sing along with us. It is better to light just one little candle than to stumble in the dark. Better fall than to light just one little candle. All you need is a tiny spark. And if we all say a prayer, for the world would be free, the wonderful dawn of a new day will soon. And if everyone lit just one little candle, what a bright world this would be. What a bright world this would be. It's time now for us to share the spiritual gift of abundance. Sort of hate to do this, but to break the mood, but I was raised Baptist. It's ingrained in me. So, it may be difficult to get out your offering while you're holding a lit candle, so if you need to blow it out, go ahead and do that. And our usher will come forward and let's affirm the divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
And if everyone lit just one little candle, what a bright world this would be. What a bright world this would be.
Our practitioner of the day is going to lead us in some closing thoughts together. And following that, if you can, we'll hold hands across the aisle. You ever notice how hard that is to do when you're holding a lit candle? Do your best. And we'll do the peace song. So thanks again for being with us today. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. And let's know that peace on earth can be a reality here and now. Yeah, go ahead. Patrice is motioning about the prayer request box. We don't have room for it with all the candles. We'll put it on the front row, one of the seats here. Patrice?
Here is what I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, that divine creative energy that created the light is still creating light. That divine creative energy that created the universe is still creating universes. That divine creative energy that created me to be creative. I am creative in my thought, words, and actions. For I know, and I know that I know, that I am the thinker of the thoughts who become the things. And so in this truth, I know that I create love, I create joy, I create compassion, I create abundance, I create that energy that holds us all together in unity. I am the co-creator with that divine oneness. And so in that, I am so very grateful. I am so very grateful for each of us that are that I am. I am so grateful for that energy that we bring out into the world, that energy that we have right here, we take with us each and every day in each and every way. For I absolutely know that God is all there is, that I am so blessed, that is the way it is. Hallelujah. Praise be. And so it is.
Feel free to sing with me. It is better to light just one little candle than to stumble in the dark. Better far that you light one little candle. All you need a tiny spark. If we'd all say a prayer that the world would be free, the wonderful dawn of a new day you'll see. And if everyone lit just one little candle, what a bright world this would be. What a bright world this would be. Let's try and hold hands or just sing the peace song. Let there be on earth and let it be
other in harmony. With me, let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joy. To take each moment in peace eternal. Let there be peace on earth. With me.
Thank you all for being here today. Happy holidays to all of you. I want to acknowledge the invaluable assistance of Reverend Cindy and Lorraine. So have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Blessings, blessings to you all. And so it is.
On behalf of the practitioners, can you hear me? There you go. On behalf of the practitioners, we have a gift for you. So as you leave today, please take one of the little gifts we have for you here at the back, okay?